Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Commander here with another video on DC Legends. Today guys, we're going to be taking a close look at Doomsday, the Superman killer. And this video is brought to you in part by doombawkz. He actually wrote a very good article on Doomsday on the Reddit page, and I'm actually going to put a link to that article in the video description below. If you would like to read that right after you watch the video, so that you can get some more information on him, since he goes into a lot more detail than I can here. Anyway, let's get into the spotlight. So Doomsday was the latest PvP season reward for anybody who ranked high enough to get at least 90 fragments to be able to unlock him. He unlocks at 4 stars. He's an energy character. And looking at his bio briefly, the ever-evolving Kryptonian monster is a destroyer of worlds and can never be defeated the same way twice. He's a Kryptonian. His power is highly adaptable monster of incredible power and rage, and he does hit really hard, guys. We're going to see that as we get into his moves. I really like the character art. He looks amazing. That bone armor that he has going on and the spikes look great. Now his first move is called Evolving Strike. This is a setup move. The damage on this ability is not that high. Now when you take it to max level, you do get an increase of 70%. But it also adds a strength up, affinity, agility up, and a stamina up. So this is a setup move to put some buffs on him because he is highly dependent on having buffs on him. Now, once you take this ability to the legendary, you gain an additional buff of each one, taking the grand total to 6. And again, he's very highly dependent on buffs, as we're going to see. So moving on to his second move, Adaptive Defense. This gives him 4 affinity ups, and it gives him also a medium heal, but only if he has 4 buffs. So here you start to see how he depends on having buffs on him to be able to become more effective and stronger. Now this ability, as you level it up, you get a 40% increase in the heal, and you also get 2 additional stacks of affinity up. When you take this to legendary, you get the benefit of lowering the cooldown of all the moves by 1, which I think it's great. This is probably the second ability that I myself will be taking to legendary. That because the third move is the one that I'm planning to take first, and that's Devastator, which is his heavy damage ability, and it hits really hard even from the get-go. When you take this ability to max, you get a 55% damage increase on it, and you can only use this ability, however, when you have 8 or more buffs. Again, he's highly depending on that. Now when you take this to legendary, this ability has its cooldown reduced by 3 if the target is killed. And again, this hits really hard, so something will die on screen when you use this ability. And like I said, this is probably the first one that I will be taking to legendary. Now let's look at his fourth move. This is Doomsquake, and this is his AoE attack, but it also has a 20% chance to stun all enemies. Now this only goes up to 25% once you take it to max level. This ability also gains a 25% damage increase at max level. The 25% stun chance, nothing to write home about. If it happens, it's icing on the cake, but this is just to hit every single enemy. Now when you look at his legendary upgrade, and looking at it, you also gain special damage to all enemies, but only if you have 16 buffs, which again, in the state of PvP nowadays, is really hard to maintain that incredible amount of buffs. But anyway, this ability, probably the last one that I will be taking to legendary myself. Now looking at his passive ability, his 5th move, Indestructible. This ability allows him to resurrect at 25% health, and it also gives him 4 buffs. When this is maxed out, that goes up to 50%, and you get 8 buffs, which is incredible, I believe. Now I don't have it open yet, so I don't know what the legendary does, but if anybody does, let me know in the comments section below. Let's go ahead and talk about some synergies that he has. He has great synergies with characters that heal, such as Starfire, which can give him a strong heal, and she also has strength down on enemies. Triple S Lex Luthor not only heals him, but also helps him with his speed, because he is a slow character, as we're going to talk about here in a minute. And he also Lex Luthor also takes away turn meter from the enemies as well. You can also pair him up with like Green Lantern to add survivability because of the shield at the start of combat, and then the occasional shield during battle. Also that stun immunity that he grants at 5 stars. Dr. Fate, who also has shields. He has intelligence up, which is a buff for him to add to those buffs that he needs. Stun immunity, and he also clears debuffs. You can also use Cheetah as a leader. She has that passive ability as a leader that gives her members, her party members, turn meter. The more bleeds that there are on the enemy teams. Zatanna, you can also use it as a leader because she also has a similar ability to Cheetah's team leader passive, and of course she also has that strong team heal that she has, and debuff clearing and all that. Now, some of the pros of this character. This character has a strong defense. If you go back and you look at his stats, okay, and you look at his agility, which is the one that affects defense, is 708 at level 50, plus 15 also because of the gear right now, and that's a little above average, but he can take a hit. If you take him into combat, you'll notice that he can take a hit. Also, his hit points, his stamina is actually a little above average as well. Right now he's at 833. When you look at the hit points, he has 8,300. So that's pretty good, a little bit above average. I compared him to my Batman, who's who is a level 47, and Batman has 9,500. So yeah, Batman has more, but Batman's defense is not as high. So his defense, Doomsday's high defense paired up with his high health makes for a very strong defense. He has a very hard-hitting third move, Devastator. He revives after death with a 25% health and 4 buffs, 50% health when you max that up. He fits almost any team that you put him in. He will be good, and he's great for long fights, especially in PvE. Now, some of the cons of this character: he's slow, like we talked about earlier. He has a very slow speed. Again, looking at his stats, you can see his speed is sitting at 70 right now, level 50. He's not as slow as Grundy or Chemo, but he's still a slow character. He's extremely buff dependent. Buff removal sets him back tremendously. He has a very low stun chance in that AoE attack, and he's an average character for PvP, I would say. Took him into PvP, and we're gonna look as you're looking at the matches right now, and the matches just tend to last longer. He will probably be very useful once you take him to Legendary, but at the moment, he's just average. Now, some possible teams for him. He fits again in any team, but I just thought about like really some cool ideas for teams. And to me, by far, this is the coolest. This is a really annoying team, and that's not the actual name that I would use if I had these characters, but it would be Doomsday, it would be Grundy, Superman, Sinestro White Lantern as the leader. Now, I know Sinestro White Lantern is a premium character, but for those of you who have him, if you put him as the leader, I think that'd be very, very good. Very, very annoying to face in defense as well, because everyone here comes back to life at least once, making them very hard to deal with. I mean, that is so annoying. Not to say that these characters, 3 of them hit extremely hard when they get going. So yeah, this is going to be a really annoying team to face or in PvP and defense. Now, if you want to have great sustain for him, and this all works in PvP as well as PvE, I would suggest Green Lantern as a leader for those shields. Of course, Zatanna for the heals, the debuffs, and the buffs. Dr. Fate, and because again, shield, buffs, and debuff clearing. And Doomsday, of course. And this team makes him almost unkillable, and it helps provide the buffs that he needs to get him going quicker. Another team that I would also suggest would be Cheetah as the leader for, again, helping with speed. Triple S Lex Luthor for speed and heals. World's Greatest Detective Batman for heals and debuff removal. And, you know, again, that's a team that would give him survivability, help with the speed, and give him some buffs. But again, he pretty much fits any team, guys. So, anyway, let me know what you think. Do you agree? Is Doomsday a good character? Is he an average character? Do you think he's better for PvE or PvP? If you think he's better for PvP, then let me know what team you're using him on and what things you're doing with him. And I mean, I would love to have that discussion with you guys. Comment below and let me know. Or you can tweet me a command to land it, and let's continue the conversation. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on all the great content that we'll be bringing you in the future. And as always, have a fantastic rest of your day. See you later.